Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quat, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Olin Wallace. How's it going today, man?
It's going great. It's going good.
Glad to have you back. It's been almost exactly 4 years. So,
It's great to be back, man. It's been a ride since the last time we've had a chat. I'm glad we get to sit down and do this again.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So, just to kind of recap, you're based in Nashville now, but you're originally from Minnesota. So, how's obviously Nashville's changed in 4 years. It's changed in the last year since I've been there, but how's Nashville been treating you lately?
It's been treating me good, yeah. No complaints at all. It has definitely changed a lot. It's always evolving continuously. I feel like every time I go down a street, there's a new building I didn't know was there, or
Right.
something's name has changed, or somebody else got a piece of property. You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a growing city like Nashville. So how's the music been going? Since we last talked, you opened or started hosting a writers round. You've released a whole bunch of music. I mean, I'd hope you would in 4 years, but how's the music been
Yeah,
going?
it's been going really well. So I released an EP in 2021, and that did its thing. Was great. Was a lot of fun. And then I took a break from releasing music up until this year. I just started putting some new stuff back out.
Mhm.
And we released one on June 21st of this year, and then released another one August 30th, and we're scheduled to release one more in the beginning of November
Nice.
before the holiday season. It's not a holiday song, but we're gonna release one more, before the holiday season.
Okay.
And yeah, and then we started the round out in Franklin. So, just helping giving another spot for songwriters an opportunity to play. And actually we'll do an exclusive real quick.
Okay.
Our round is moving from Franklin. It's gonna stay in Franklin, but it's also moving into Nashville as of
Nice.
next week. So that's we're expanding and getting another venue, which is awesome and
Yeah.
very blessed for that. So yeah, there's lots of different things are happening, and it's been fun. It's definitely been a ride.
Nice. As somebody, I've tried to book several different things at a few different venues in Nashville, in and around Nashville. I know how hard it is to find Nashvilles that A, have openings, but B, are willing to kind of bring in different types of stuff. So that's really cool that you're expanding on your writers' rounds.
Yeah, and I mean it's not, I mean, like you said, it's not easy. I mean, every bar in Nashville already is pretty booked up with doing
Yeah,
music or shows or something, and we were lucky enough to have this opportunity, and they said, "Do you want to bring your round in?" And I was like, 100%, I definitely want to
nice.
bring it in. So we're gonna start doing a one a month at the Row in Nashville
Nice.
now.
Nice. That's really cool. So you'd mentioned that you'd kind of taken a break from, was it a full break from music or just releasing music?
Just releasing music, there was definitely not a break from music. Was still heavily playing shows and songwriting and all of that.
Hmm.
Just had taken a break from putting music out. Wanted to get a few more songs crafted and kind of pick a direction. And we kind of did went through a little bit of a rebranding phase
Hmm.
last fall and the beginning of this year. So kind of that worked with the music as well too.
Hmm.
So we I changed a lot of different stuff, and we kind of approach it a little bit differently now. So now we're launching into that new season
Mm.
with the new music and kind of the new face of what it's going to be.
Nice. Kind of going through that whole like obviously taking a break is obviously good mental, like all that's for your mental health, physical health, all that stuff. But going through the rebrand, as you kind of called it, what was the thought process behind that? Were you feeling like the stuff prior to 2023, let's call it, that you were trying to be somebody you weren't, or were you just trying to figure out who you wanted to be as a musician?
I think I definitely will say my stamp is on that music, and that's still
Mhm.
music that I very much love, and that is
Mhm.
very much me in a sense of lyrical content and stuff. But I would say that I wasn't formed as an artist yet. I hadn't found complete footing of
Mm.
really what I was gonna be, what I wanted to be, which direction I was gonna go. Hadn't really completely found my sound with what I wanted to do. And so with what we've been doing lately, and I don't if you notice there's no cowboy hat on in this one. So we did a couple change of little things there, and and yeah, we just kind of pointed the music a little bit in a different direction, and have been running with it ever since. And this new stuff that's been coming out, this is really where my heart's at, where my soul is, what who I am as
Mm.
a person. That's what this new launch of music is going to be, and
Yeah,
who I am as an artist.
for sure. Well, there's a different, you're wearing a different kind of cowboy hat.
That's true. Yes, it's a different kind of cowboy hat.
I I see those promos pop up on my Instagram all the time, and it's like that's very cool and very clever and very
Oh yeah.
funny all at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
oh, so now that you're kind of, I don't want to say you're in your like final form, but you're kind of in a more comfortable, authentic realm, if you
Yeah.
will. Um, what's the obviously a lot of change is good and all that fun stuff, but what's has your process behind like writing music changed at all, or are you kind of still kind of writing music the
Uh,
same way you used to?
Definitely still writing the same way. Co-writing more than ever. Absolutely love co-writing still. And very much going about the same exact process of what I would normally write. And like I said, the music that was released before, very much
Hmm.
lyrically and everything,
Yeah,
that was still exactly who I am. So all of that is still very much there.
for sure, I feel that. So you said you've got one more song coming out here in about a month. You said you write beginning of November or in November at some point.
Yeah, kind of beginning of November. First week or so in November was what we're shooting for. That's gonna come out. I don't have an exact date yet, but right around that time.
Gotcha, gotcha. And but you do have everything but mine, which is your most recent single, which you released the end of August. What was kind of before we jump into your new song coming out here in about a month? Let's talk about everything but mine. What's the story behind that song?
Yeah, so that's I wrote that with a good friend of mine named Dash Paws. We wrote it last fall. And really it's just about a girl that, you know, when you're with them that that's your person. That's exactly who you feel like you should be with. But they just might not exactly feel the same way. And they're always on the go. Growing up in rodeo world, I watched a lot of heartbreak happen that way, where it's not always the guy that gets in the truck and drives away. Sometimes it's the girl. And
Hmm.
that's kind of what the song is it's the person you feel like that you want the most. It's home for
Hmm.
you, but they got somewhere else that they need to be, and it's not where you are. So that's kind of the premise of the song. And we put together, Dash had this cool little guitar lick that we were working on, and
Nice.
I dug through and found a title, and it was one of those ones that just kind of came out pretty quickly. And it was fun. It was definitely a lot of fun to write that.
Nice, nice. And is like the whole thought to kind of work towards a fuller project, or do you kind of see yourself like obviously singles is kind of where the industry is right now, but I feel like the industry's always been very singles driven. Do you see yourself building to a fuller project?
Oh, definitely. I definitely see building and working towards hopefully releasing an album.
Mm.
If not by the end of next year, maybe the year after. But definitely right now I'm continuously in the studio.
Hmm.
We do have another song in the pocket right now already that we are just in the studio recording. And it'll all kind of work together and hopefully come to form out an album. But right now I'm focused on releasing a few more singles. But it is driving that direction.
Nice. That's really cool. It's always interesting to see where musicians kind of sit this day and age as far as like release strategies, because obviously it depends on a musician by musician basis of what works for them, what their end goals are. So it's always really cool to kind of pick your brain and see where you sit on the whole spectrum.
Yeah, and I always think it's funny too, like certain depending on who people looked up to too, kind of, I feel like a little bit. Like if you have a very, 80s, 90s kind of a thing, you're like, nope, we're doing albums. Like I'll
Right.
talk to some friends that write, they're like, well, we're always doing albums, and then we'll release a couple off the album, but the whole album's recorded before we start releasing the
Yeah.
singles. And but yeah, no, I'm just like if I write a song one day and I'm like, this is the one, this needs to come out,
Hmm.
I'll be in the studio a month later
Hmm.
put it together.
Yeah.
So
And I think from like what I've noticed interviewing some of the musicians is it depends on what their live schedule's like. If they're playing out and they're like in Tennessee tonight, but then they're in Arkansas tomorrow, and they're kind of doing like big to do tour type things, an album makes sense because you're in front of a new crowd every night, all that stuff. Whereas if you're kind of sitting around, not sitting around Nashville, but playing around Nashville or a
yeah,
little bit of a tighter uh, area, singles are probably your better play. So
yeah, you need to keep having something fresh every time you show up.
yeah, absolutely. So you'd mentioned that you got a new song in the pocket. I'm guessing that's not the song coming out here in November.
No, so we did, yeah, we went in the studio last week. We recorded two new songs. um the November song I'm very excited about. It's a song called Four Roses. If anybody's listening to this or watching this and they've come out to some rounds, they've probably heard it, but they've never heard it like we did it in the studio. So I'm excited for people to listen to it. And Kind of that one, I wrote it with Adam Angel and Quentin Hall,
Mm,
and that's uh that's your classic '90s coming home to an empty house and she's already gone song,
mm,
and there's a little twist where you're bringing her roses, but she's gone, so you need to go get the four roses for yourself.
mm.
And that one's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to play live. And it's gonna be a blast to start playing it live full band coming up. So
Nice. So you've been playing it live for a while, but more as like you by yourself, solo, strip back.
yeah, doing the writers rounds around town and stuff, and we did it is fun sometimes. Like we'll play some writers rounds, and some these guys down here are so talented, they'll hop on, you'll be playing around with a guy and he's just playing lead over the top of you, and you can already hear the full band atmosphere of it, and you're like, this is ridiculous, like this
Right.
is this is why we're here though.
Yeah, absolutely. And how long you said you've been in Nashville 6 years now?
um let's see, it's 2024. So I've been doing music for about 5 years here.
Okay, gotcha. And you came down from Minnesota?
Came down from Minnesota, very top, all the way up top.
Nice. I feel like we've had this conversation. We had this conversation last time, but Minnesota's cool. I like it. I like the area, but not after like October. After October, I'm good. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're gonna get, it's a guaranteed. If it hasn't snowed in the beginning of October, it will snow on Halloween. That is like
yes,
the promise that the weather has made. Is you usually get your first snow the last week of October.
fair. And then I vaguely remember you mentioning you were into rodeo, right? Or
Yeah, we grew up. Yeah, I grew up around rodeo a little bit. And my brother rode saddle broncs for about 5 years.
gotcha.
So used to run around to different shows with him, and yeah, I got on my first bull when I was 8,
Nice.
and was tossed pretty hard, and
Fair,
I decided I was going to work with horses and stop riding bulls. So
fair.
I trained horses when I first moved down here for a few years. That was more my world. I would rather
Nice.
take on that angle of it than work.
Nice. I
But
went to I went to my first it wasn't a full rodeo, it was just like bull riding.
yeah,
It out here in Texas, we do we have obviously we have rodeos almost all year round, depending on where in Texas you're at. But there's a couple of small like community rodeos that'll kind of come together, and every event they'll have like strictly just bull riding, and
Oh
those are
yeah.
always really fun because they're kids that are probably about 19, 20, 21 that just quite aren't good enough to get on the PBR, but they're building towards it, and they just haven't had that scary moment of like, oh, I could die doing this.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Well, it's crazy to me, the ones that have had the scary moment, they're like, you know what? We're gonna do it anyways. And you're like,
right,
y'all are crazy.
right. I was watching a documentary about a cowboy. He's from down here in Texas. Um, and he was talking about one time he got stomped on the face by a bull, and he
Oh
got
yeah.
up and just kind of like walked away and smoked it off or something like that. And I was like, y'all are freaking insane for this stuff. Like, I
Built
don't,
different.
yeah,
Built different, that's for sure.
right,
Okay.
right. So you're glad to be doing music now instead of having to worry about all that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was my thing. I was like, man, I can still write rodeo songs. Technically, I've been on bulls once or
Yeah.
twice before in my life. I would still do it. Like if I went to a ranch and someone was like, get on, I'd be like, all right, I'll
Let's
I'll do it.
let's do it.
You
Let's give
know.
it one shot, right?
Oh yeah. Like I'm always down for to have some fun, but yeah, professionally, I know that I wouldn't last very long in that ring.
Fair.
Um but oh
Fair,
yeah.
fair. So where are you kind of at live show wise or like show wise right now? Are you playing pretty consistent? Obviously you've got the writers round, but outside of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, this year's been really good. I think I hit about 115 shows this year, 120
nice.
shows this year. So we did, been cooking, put a lot of miles on the
Yeah.
truck, went to a lot of I think I played in almost 14 different states this year.
Sick. Nice.
We're all over the southeast just running around, and I mean it hasn't stopped. I'm still playing a lot of local stuff for in the fall, the little fall festivals and stuff that
Hmm.
pop up, and still doing some bar shows down here and kind of doing that thing, but you know um did a big 6 show run in Minnesota for the
Nice.
release, actually, when we
Hmm.
released Everything But Mine. That was a blast. Did a big, is a probably from the first show to the last show is about a 3.5 hour drive. So kind of we're just hitting all these little bars all over the place, and then doing one big cumulative show in my hometown, and
Nice.
that's always a favorite place to play. It's always a
Right.
blast. So,
Nice. That actually feels like a good tour because you can enjoy yourself at night knowing you don't have like an 8 hour drive the next morning.
oh
At
yeah.
at worst, you got like an hour, maybe 45 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah. And playing your home state, I have enough friends where I'm like, "Hey, can I just like borrow a couch?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude." So like you're comfortable, you always know where you're staying,
Yeah.
and that's always a fun little run through to do
Yeah.
anytime I come up through Minnesota.
When you're doing those shows, are you playing? Is it strictly you by yourself, or are you bringing the band with you?
This year, all of that pretty much was just by myself. And we started doing full band stuff kind of this fall, and gonna really push hard into that next year, and bring the guys out, and start running around, and yeah, full time in the full band. So that'll be
Nice.
a lot of fun.
Nice. That's really cool. We'll definitely have to try and reconnect here a little bit. I'm trying to be better about coming out to Nashville. Obviously I came out right before the pandemic hit, and then it had been like 3 years before I came back out.
Yeah.
And so now I'm trying to come out like 3 or 4 times a year. So,
Well, I'm trying to get down to Texas, so I'm
well, we'll definitely help you out there. It's
yeah, trying to make a trip.
right. It's one of those things where it's like I've been trying so hard to move to Nashville, and everybody's like, "You're in a good spot right now. Don't be like, yes, Nashville. It would be cool to have you in Nashville, but honestly, it's you're fine. Maybe get a little bit further closer to Austin, but other than that, you're in a good spot." So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
So
um,
one of my friends is trying to move to Austin. He's like, "Bro, let's go to Austin." I'm like, I love Nashville. I was like, I don't think I could leave it.
Right? Fair. Hey, so you haven't had a chance to play Texas yet?
I have not made it to Texas to play yet. I keep getting I've been asked a few times. I need to get down there though.
Fair. Well, we'll have to get you linked up with one of these. We've got so many fairs and festivals and all
Yeah.
that stuff. We'll have to try and get you linked up with one of these promoters that are putting on, like Brew Fest or West Fest or, just like all these
Oh yeah.
different like Polish or Czech heritage festivals, stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
but
I'm down to play, I
yeah,
always feel it's like I'll play for anybody, anywhere, anytime. It does
nice.
not matter to me.
For sure, for sure. So outside of music, what have you been getting into recently?
Um, not just pretty much just been grinding on the music. Doing this full time now. I moved into a camper. That's
Hmm.
why this is like. So I built a camper. We and my brother took this old camper and gutted it and built it into a tiny house, and that's what I live in now. So keeps me from buying unnecessary things because there's
Fair,
not a lot of room in here. But
fair,
I'm always traveling, I'm always on the road, so, it's just pretty much me and the dog, and we don't really need a whole lot of space anyways, so we'd rather
fair,
be outside anyways.
fair. I've been looking at doing something like that because my dad's cousin, yeah, my dad's cousin, he does remodels of storage containers and homes.
Yeah.
Like that's a real big thing here in Texas. And it's like that looks like a cool thing, but I feel like because they're so long, just like that confinement of a house feels really weird to me.
I thought I saw one, they did like a triple one,
Hmm.
and it was like you had like the 2 sides, then there was a top on it, and you could like
Hmm.
crawl through that one into the other, and I was like, "That is a crazy little setup they had."
Right. It's I like the ones where they have like the little party deck up on top, and
Yeah.
it's like those are really cool. So,
I always need a
um,
party deck or a front porch, you need one of the 2.
right, right, right. I've got a back porch in my place right now, but we're not allowed to have like grills or anything on it. And I was like, take the back porch away. There's no point in having it. So,
Yeah, that's why I moved kind of out of the city, because I was like, I
mm,
need I need my space, I need my stars
yeah,
back, I need my crickets.
right. Fair. We get all that because I live right in front of a dry riverbed. So we get the
Oh yeah.
crickets, we get the cicadas, we get the frogs, we get every once in a while you'll hear a wild like a feral cat mating in the background, and it's just like the weirdest combination of things. So yeah. Um, but yeah, so anyways, what's kind of obviously you got the new music coming out here in November. What's the thought process heading into 2025? Are you trying to get,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, 2025 is we're trying to book some festivals right now.
Hmm.
We're booking a bunch of shows. And we're gonna hit the ground running. Where, like I said, we went in the studio and recorded 2 songs. We're gonna drop one more, and that second one's gonna get released in the spring, pretty much immediately. And I guarantee I'll probably be recording 1 or 2 more before December,
Hmm.
uh, or at least before that third single's out. And that's just going to be one after another, just consistently, and keep putting out music and keep going and running the road and playing shows and just, expanding, and my goal is, another 150 shows next
Yes.
year, you know, and at least 50%, want to do them as full bands. So
Hmm.
it's just building blocks.
Oh
So
yeah.
2025 or 2024 has been, an outstanding year for me. It's been a
Hmm.
big year, my biggest year so far. But every time you have a big year, you need to have a bigger one. And it's just keep moving forward. And yeah, and if every next year is the biggest year you've ever had, at some point you're going to be exactly where you wanted to be. So,
Nice. That's cool. I dig it 100%. We'll definitely have to get you down here to Texas. We'll talk offline. I'll get you some. venues and some contact information and all that fun stuff. So,
Oh yeah, I would love it.
but but if anybody wants to check out your music, your upcoming stuff, your shows, your social media, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
So everything, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, my website, everything is Olin Wallace Music. That is the easiest way to find me. If you can't find it, just Google it. I promise I'll be the first person that will come up.
Yeah.
My music's out on Spotify, iTunes. It's just under Olin Wallace. Uh, and yeah, just keep streaming the new stuff. Been super blessed. The Everything But Mine release. That song's been out less than a month, and it's now my top streaming song I've ever released. So
Nice.
super happy about that. And yeah, just hitting
Nice.
gold and moving forward.
For sure. It's always really cool to kind of see that hard work pay off and like visually see the results.
Oh yeah.
And, as much as I hate nitpicking and looking at analytics on a daily basis, when you kind of step back and get to see, oh, hey, there's actual growth here, it's a really cool feeling. So,
Oh yeah. No, it is amazing.
yeah. But Olin, thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.